Well, good morning. I'm going to, my name's Sadie Hays. I'm an acupuncturist in Ithaca. And thank you so much for joining us so far. Gabrielle did massage and Melissa did some movement. Yesterday we had a glitch with the video. And so really sorry if that affected anybody's streaming yesterday. That was kind of a bummer. But we did get another video uploaded. The great thing is that if you ever miss any of our videos, you can always come back to the channel and look at them at another time. So there is a video there from Melissa if you didn't get to see it yesterday. So today I'm going to do a combination of acupuncture channel massage. I'm going to be working specifically on the lungs and large intestine channels. And I'll talk a little bit about what each of those organs are and what they mean, and probably not going to talk a whole lot through the session, but if there are any movements that are confusing or if you want any clarification, you can always say something in the chat, or you can email me at sadiehayslac@gmail.com, and let's get started. So for this first several movements, sorry, the screen is it's really bright in the sunshine, which is beautiful, but my face might get obliterated. Let's see, for the first movements, you can do them seated if you want, but I really recommend standing. But if at any point you get tired, just go ahead and sit down. Close this. Let's see if that makes it a little easier. So to get started, we're going to place our feet about hip width apart. Let your spine be supple, straight. Check that you're not leaning too far forward or too far backward. You're not shifting from side to side. Just straight. Give a slight bend to your knees. And let your spine be long and your head reach up to the sky as if it's a buoy floating on still water. And then with the breath in, raise your shoulders. And exhale, drop. Raise your shoulders. Exhale, drop. As you stand breathing, see if your breath can reach your low abdomen. Breathing in gently, rising and falling. One thing you can do to bring a sense of tranquility into your body is to touch the tongue to the top of the palate, just behind the teeth, and just raise your lips in a bit of a smile. And one instruction I really appreciate from Robert Pung is to listen to a sound coming from far, far away. And we're going to wake up the body by shaking. So shaking is kind of just like bouncing. And so what you're doing is you are letting all the muscles in the top part of your body hang loose while your feet pump gently into the ground, bending at the knees. And so this is really funny. It's a ridiculous thing to do. And so good thing to just get started with. So we're going to shake. And shake, shake, shake. So your arms are hanging like ropes from the ends of your shoulders. Your neck is loose, so your head is bobbing around. You might wonder, how long do we have to do this, Sadie? This is absurd. That's exactly the point. Just shake. Shake out any tension from your neck. Shake out tension from your shoulders. Shake out tension from your arms. And you can make some sounds like now we're going to start shaking deliberately. So I am facing east, and I am going to first shake my hands down to the ground, tapping into earth energy, grounding and stable. Now I'm going to shake my hands to the west, behind me. It doesn't matter what direction you're facing, just one direction. Now we're shake to the front. And to the sides. Shake to the heavens. Clear, pure, transcendent energy coming from the heavens. And take that back down to the earth. Imagine that golden light is just shaking down through your body, drip by drip, going down through your legs, into your feet, into the floor, into the earth. And then stop. Return the slight bend to your knees. Regulate your breathing and feel. I don't know about you, but what happens when I do that is that I get a nice feeling of like tingling all in my body. I think of it as kind of like carbonation for the cells, getting oxygen into your cells. Now we're going to do channel padding. And so we are going to be working the yin and the yang. We welcome to the 6 directions. We're now going to go into yin and yang. So we're going to start with our hands, and we're going to be patting our body. And how hard do we pat? Don't hit yourself hard, but hard enough to make a little bit of a sound, and to make little reverberations, little waves of movement inside your body from the patting. So my hands, just to give you a sense, are about going out this far as I pat. So we're starting down here at the low abdomen, which is also called the lower dantian. It's between the navel and the pubic bone. And now bring your hand patting take one hand. We're going to pat on the lung area and down the inside of the arm. Really getting the joints, the wrist, the elbow, fingertips. Now we're going to be on the yang channel, which is on the outside of the arm. Right. So we're going to pat the outside of the arm. Again, getting the wrists, the elbow, shoulder. I'm going to come for another cycle. Yin channel. Yang channels. Some nice pats to your shoulder. And we're going to come over here to the other side. So we're just going down yin channels, going up yang channels. You can pick up your speed if you want. So I'm just doing yin channels again. Yang channels, back of the arm. Now gently with your fingers, just your fingertips, and just tap on the sides of your neck. Come around your ears. Now your fingers are hard, they're like fingertips are sort of tapping into your skull like raindrops. You can go front and back, side, side. You can use the palms of your hands too. Now take your fingertips and dance around on the tip top of your head. Now take your fingertips and we're just going to tap on your forehead. Tapping on your forehead right around the eyebrows, especially the inner eyebrow, right before your bridge of your nose. Sides of the eyes by the temples. And under the eyes, tops of the cheekbones. Now we're going to pat down. And you're not going to be able to see all of my legs, so I'm going to tell you what we're doing. First, we're going to go down the fronts of the legs, insides of the thighs, sides of the body, down to the feet, insides of the legs all the way up to the back, back down the backs of the legs, up the insides of the thighs. So I'll call it out, but you may not be able to see it so well. So we're going to go here, abdomen, down the fronts of the thighs, and then up the insides of the legs. Again, spend some time on the joints, like the knee area. Good side, sides of the body, all the way down the sides of the thighs, down to the feet. Up the insides of the legs. Spend some time around the inside of the knee. A little bit of time at the groin. Kidney. Pat your tush. Down the backs of your legs. Insides of your thighs. And we're going to return to the low abdomen. And really breathe in as you're patting there. And just rest your hands on your low abdomen. You might have a little bit of that tingly feeling also on your skin. Now, after patting all of our channels, we're going to do channel massage. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to focus on the lungs and the large intestine, which are on, I'm going to use this arm, which are on the arm only. There are two of the shorter channels, so they're easy to go through. The lung channel is the first channel of our whole system, and it starts, you just look at like where your collarbone meets your shoulder. There's a little dip there. It starts just below that. So just below there, that's lung one. And it's a yin channel, so it's going on the inside aspect of the arm. Traveling from there, along the front of the shoulder, along the bicep, to the crook of the elbow, tracing a line all the way down to your thumb. That's the lung channel. Its origin point is right by the lung. So we're going to start massaging there. And then we're going to go to its neighbor channel. It stops, lung stops at the thumb, large intestine hops over to the pointer finger. So pointer finger goes along here. This point here, which is contraindicated if you're pregnant. So if you're pregnant when we're doing this channel massage, please don't push there very hard unless you're past 37 weeks and you're ready to have a baby. Not that it's going to bring on instant labor, but it's a point that we use to facilitate labor. So contraindicated in pregnancy up to 37 weeks. Okay. So we're going to go along the forearm, but on the outside of the arm. Forearm here to the crook of the elbow. Up the side of the arm. Here's a point here where the insertion of the deltoid muscle comes in, up the shoulder, and then it comes around front of the neck and up across, up to your nose. So we're going to do channel massage on this just about twice for each channel on each side. Okay. So first, let's start with a nice massage on whichever side you want to start with. It doesn't matter. We're just rubbing pectoral muscles behind which you have your ribs, behind which you have your lungs. Now with the thumb, you can start rubbing your thumb. Tuck your hand under your armpit, rub here, just in that little below the triangle I told you about. And start rubbing right there, lung 1 to lung 2. And then we're going to just start using our fingers to just squeeze down the course of the channel. So I'm using just enough pressure to feel good in the channel. You're not necessarily trying to elicit any like pain or certain sensation. Definitely don't elicit pain. When you get to this point here at the crook of the elbow, this is lung 5. When you fold, your finger should just get enveloped into that spot. Just below that is a very good point for coughing. So if you find anything tender here, or just below it on the forearm, very good point for coughing. So we're just using our fingers to go down the channel. Anytime you get to a point that's at a joint, spend a little bit of time there. So I'm here right now at the base of the thumb. That's lung 9. Points at the joints deserve special attention. And then we're going to also rub around on points that are on mounds. So anything that's got a muscular, fleshy bit. So here, this is lung 10, also a very good point to rub. You can use your thumb like this, rub on it. And as we get down to the digits, we're going to use our 2 fingers like scissors. You're just going to grab you're going to pull. So now with a little less talking, starting up here at the lung. Squeeze down through the bicep to lung 5, rub around, down the forearm, down to lung 9, points at the joints, down here to the mound of the palm along the thumb. I'll just give that a little bit of a massage. Rubbing around and points on the mounds. And then we get down here to the thumb, scissor fingers, pull. Now I'm going to call this toothpaste pushing. And so toothpaste pushing is like imagining you've got a toothpaste tube and you're just going to push all the toothpaste down to the end. Shake your hand out. And just close your eyes and feel for a moment. Does the arm you worked on feel any different from the hand that was doing the work? I'm going to work up here on your lung, opposite side. Rub the lung, rub the pec. So the lungs in Chinese medicine are the organ that hair organs, lungs and large intestine are associated with the metal element, and they are corresponding with the time of autumn. Interestingly, though, they are lung 1 here is what's considered the first point of the qi cycle in the body. One way to think about that is that when a baby is born, what's the first thing they do? They take a breath. And then what's the next thing they do? They poop. So first two systems get ready to go. First signs of life, breathing, pooping. And then after that, they want to eat. Okay, so now we're going to go through the lung channel. Again, this is on the inside part of the arm, along the bicep, get down to lung 5. It might feel different on one side than the other. I was just noticing my left bicep is a little more sore than my right. Points at the joints. Rubbing around, points and mounds, lung 10. And down to your thumb, give it a couple of squeezes. And scissor fingers, pull. When we're doing a channel with our fingers, we're really working on the musculoskeletal channel. It's and the channel pathway for muscles and sinews, it's like much wider than if you're doing acupuncture. So if you're feeling anything in the region of the channel, anything that's sore or stiff, that's all lung channel related. And if you find a sore spot, just rub it out. My intention with showing you these channels is so that you can get to know the trajectory of them, and then also notice it on you if there are any places that are kind of sore or tight. Sometimes it's just a little kind of conglomeration of energy getting stuck in the channel, and you give it a little bit of movement and it just moves right along out. And if you know the course of the channel yourself, you might see it more as channel pain as opposed to something that's wrong or just a muscle problem. Sometimes it just needs movement. So now we're doing toothpaste squeezing. Squeezing all the way down the course of the channel. And shake out your arm. And we're going to go to the large intestine channel. This is, the large intestine is here, right? Way down here. And so whereas the lungs are up here and the channel starts right from them, there's a little bit of a longer distance between the large intestine channel and the actual location of the large intestine. More to say about that, but we'll skip it. So knowing that we're going to start on our fingers, first what we're going to do is take our fingers to our abdomen and trace the path of the large intestine. So the large intestine starts on your right side where it connects with the small intestine, and the ascending colon comes up, the transverse colon comes across, the descending colon goes down on the left. So when we do abdomen massage, we're often going in a clockwise direction. That's because of the direction that the intestines move. So they come up, across, and down, and then up, across, and down. Of course, if your intestines move too freely, you might not want to do this too much. You could do a gentle rubbing. If your intestines do not move freely, you could be a little bit more intentional with your pressure. I'm just going to do gentle rubbing like this. The other thing you can do if you want to balance it out is just go the other direction also. So now starting here on the pointer finger, the first point of the large intestine channel is at the thumb side of the pointer fingernail. So we're just going to take our fingers and kind of like roll back and forth on the finger, just squeezing it and rolling it a little bit. Now we're coming up to large intestine 4, again, that point where if you took your hand like this and you squeeze your thumb together, notice a little mound here. If you push towards the finger bone, that's how you find large intestine 4, and you're not going to do that again if you're pregnant. So we come up the finger. Spend a little time on large intestine 4. Really useful point for pain, generally speaking. Conditions having to do with the head, especially this front part of the head, the forehead, jaw, front region. And now we're going to move along the large intestine channel into the region of the extensors. These are usually pretty sore on people, especially if you spend time at your computer, or if you do a lot of writing or manual labor with your hands with a lot of grasping and pulling. That activates these muscles. They get pretty sore. You find a tender spot in there, you can kind of rub it around. And here in the crook of the elbow, where the elbow line just comes to a point there, it's large intestine 11. Get your thumb in there and push that around. That's large intestine 11. I'm tracing up side of the arm. This point here where the deltoid inserts. That can be a little bit sore sometimes. I'm going to go up to the shoulder. And the shoulder right here. There's a nice point that opens up as you raise your elbow up. A little dimple. That's large intestine 15. Move your shoulder around, do a couple shoulder circles while you get your finger in that insertion point. And across. Open the neck. Won't rub too hard on there. Now this one's funny. Come across the face, under the nose. This point right here to the left of your nostril. Right off to the side, right under your cheekbone. Very good point for sinus congestion. So as you breathe in, press up against your cheekbone. Breathe out, release. Breathe in, press against your cheekbone. Breathe out, release. Breathe in, press against your cheekbone. Breathe out, release. So now a little more smoothly, we're going to go through the course again. Extensors, large intestine 11, shoulder, some shoulder circles, get some movement in there. That's your neck. And welcome the air. Breathe in, release, press and breathe in, release. Large intestine 20, press and release. And now because large intestine is a yang channel, yin channels need to store, yin organs store, yang channels need to transport. They're more like tubes. We say that basically we have cups and we have tubes. So the yang channels are the tubes, and large intestine channel needs to just be a tube. It needs to not be storing things, it needs to be transporting things. So we've just gone with the direction of the large intestine channel. You can also go against the direction of the large intestine channel just to sort of clear things out. So using a gentle brushing movement, you can just brush and brush, brush down the hand. And feel. Now, I'm going to start the other side with a little bit less talking. Remember, we twist on the finger, just twist and rotate between your fingers just to wake it up. over to here, large intestine 4. Some pressure in there, if that's right for you. And here, again, these are all of these muscles here, like I said, points on the mound. These are the extensor muscles, right? So we're gonna rub around in there. Points on the nose. Oof, those are sore. And then getting in here to a point of the joint. So with both lung and large intestine, we're both on the bicep. I'm not just doing this to show you my amazing biceps. Ha ha ha. Whatever. But so in the lung intestine, or the lung channel, we're on the inside part of the bicep. On the large intestine channel, we're just on the back side of the bicep, the yang side, outside. We're still kind of on the same aspect of the body. It's still at the front. It's part of what makes them connected. Go up in here to your shoulder. There's another point at the joint. So what I'm doing when I do that is I feel the insertion point of the tendons up there, and I just sort of rub my fingers across the insertion as I do the range of motion exercise. And go across the neck. With a large intestine 20, breathe in and out. In, out. You can take a couple more at your pace. Really good way to just start your morning and clear up the wintertime heaters on kind of congestion that a lot of people have. All right. I'm just going to go one time more through here. And we're just going to brush. And you can go in the opposite direction of the large intestine channel, just brushing it down. Brushing down. And feel. So the last two things I'm going to show you guys today that are part of the Qigong series are movements for the lung channel and another for the large intestine channel. So now that you know where those channels are, we just talked about, you can really bring a sort of an imagination of those channels almost being like illuminated by like a gold wire, imagine, and sort of glinting in the sunshine as you do these movements, so that you feel as you're moving with them that the channels themselves are also doing some of the work. Now, in the I Ching Jing, one thing that's important is two kinds of breathing. And so I'm not a certified Qigong teacher, I should say. I do this practice because I am a student of this practice, and I am here sharing my practice with you. So my hope is that by learning this sequence, this might turn you on to feeling how like Qigong might be a great thing for you in your life. And Robert Peng, P-E-N-G, is the teacher from whom I learned this series. So highly recommend checking that out. So, I might spend more time on breathing at another time, but when you do breathing, a lot of times we talk about breathing in with the in breath and breathing out with the out breath, right? with I Ching Jing, there's a kind of breath called moderate and strong fire breathing. And with those, what we're going to do is actually contract what's called the Mingmen, which is the low back, and the Dantian, which is located often in the front, in terms of like where the front point is. And if you triangulate between these 2 points, here and here, somewhere kind of in the middle, also triangulating with the floor of the pelvis, you can imagine there being like a bright white pearl. And when you breathe in, you want to take a breath that pulls all of those together. There's a contracting in and up, and then a relaxing down and out. So breath in would look like this. And now that isn't just the breath that you do when you try to get your belly to suck in, right? This is like a contracting it in and releasing it out. And that should also activate the floor of the pelvis, the pelvic floor muscles to pull up and in a little bit, and then relax. So first we're going to practice some moderate fire breathing, and that's to breathe in with that contracting, that imagining that pearl getting smaller, and as you breathe out, the pearl expands out. So you breathe in and release. Breathe in, contract. Breathe out, release. You can almost imagine the fire breathing kind of like just giving yourself a nice little hug. So that's called moderate fire breathing. To do strong fire breathing, you're going to do the same movement where your pelvis and the front and the back all tighten together. But during the out breath, it's a little bit like an ujjayi breath in yoga, where there's a forceful and audible out breath. So you breathe in. It's just an introduction to those 2 kinds of breathing. So the first movement is just kind of get yourself set up with your feet hip width apart. And your arms are going to come up gently. Your elbows are relaxed and your wrists are relaxed, like you're hugging a nice golden shining ball of light. You do 3 moderate fire breaths. So that's where the breath goes in and just gentle out. Waking up that golden or silver wire of the long channel around your arms, wrapping it around that ball. Now we're going to do 9 strong fire breaths, and the movement is to bring your arms towards your chest with the in-breath, and as you breathe out, bend your knees and push your arms away from you. So we breathe in. Just about 30% of your effort, not hard. Three. 4. 5. We're going to push 50%. 8. And now for grand finale, 80%. Just let your arms relax for 3 natural breaths. The lungs in Chinese medicine are considered to be the organs that are most affected by and involved with the emotion of loss or sadness or grief. Just check in and see if there's any sadness or grief that's with you today. And then we're going to raise our hands up in prayer position and then let them come down to our sides. And as you raise your hands up, you can just offer up that sadness and loss and acknowledgement of it being a part of our life experience as humans. And as you bring your hands down, we're going to bring in kindness. Loss, sadness, grief, and kindness are both parts of the human experience. And especially right now, I think I'm seeing a lot of people who are turning to kindness in the face of loss. So lift up your left foot and step it back out to hip width apart. We're going to move to the large intestine channel movement. So we're going to bring our hands up and spread them out and end up like a great T-bar. So we're going to do moderate fire breathing. And as you breathe in, strengthen that T-bar like every breath makes it stronger. Connecting one end of the fingertips to the other end. We're going to go up on our tiptoes with this lamp. And with each breath out, you're going to stretch. You're going to imagine that somebody is holding the joint that I mentioned and pulling on the end of your fingertips. So we're going to go from the fingertips to the base of the finger, to the wrist, to the elbow, to the shoulder, shoulder blade, whole arm. So each time you're just going to stretch and see if you can get a little more distance between the joints. So we'll breathe in. Breathe in, standing up on your toes. Breathing out, stretch from the fingertips. Breathing in, up on your toes. Breathing out from the base of the fingers. And this is with that strong fire breath, audible on the out. Breathing in on your toes. Out, stretch from the wrists. Breathing in, up on your toes. Stretch from your elbows. Stretch from your shoulder blades, shoulders. Stretch from your spine. Stretch all the arms. And now imagine you're stroking the horizon of the sky. Relax your arms. For 3 breaths. And bring your hands to prayer position in front of your heart. The large intestine is part of the mental element broadly associated with this emotion of grief, but the I Ching has talked about in terms of stagnation and relief. So if you have any stagnation, lack of movement, and especially if that's affecting your intestines, let's recognize that. And as we offer it up, we'll let rain down and welcome in a feeling of relief. Just breathe in and your lower abdomen. Breathe out. You can recognize that the forces of life outside, the sun, the water cycle, the plants, all living things are a part of you, and you're a part of them. So thank you for joining me today for movement. Um, we're going to be going through essentially those things each time we practice. We'll be talking about the channels, the organs, and then doing the Qigong movement that's associated with it. Each week we'll be building on the last, so that some of these practices, like the breathing I mentioned today, we won't have to go over that right in the same way as we did. So I hope you'll join me again. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me, sadiehays.lac@gmail.com. You can leave comments in the chat. Thanks so much for joining. I hope to see you next week.